Destruction. That was the form of death Grimmjow Jaegerjaquez and Luppi Antenor ruled. They were slaves to an everlasting impulse for destruction, and repeatedly caused destruction because they sought freedom.
The form of death that represents you is likely the same as Grimmjow's. That is the precise reason why you were chosen to succeed him among Dordoni, Chiruchi, and the other candidates. And don't try to tell me you had no idea. The only way you establish a connection with anything is through destruction. If the holes bored through us hollows are what we lack, then you, or rather both of you, can only use destruction as a means to fill that hole. The reason why you hate Grimmjow from the bottom of your heart is simply because you hate others the same way you hate yourself. Though you should actually pity him, since you are the legitimate sexton now. Well, if you do accidentally kill Grimmjow, I will make good use of his corpse, so you should feel content in following your desires. Because as long as you carry that number, you are disposed towards an existence that causes destruction.
The Rukon guy.
I won't let anyone get in my way! I'll tear you apart! 8 against 1!
Swinging around his mangled tentacles, Luppi hit Grimmjow multiple times. Grimmjow continued to use his claws and occasional settle to evade the wave of attacks.
There's no fun in killing a weakling who can't even leave a scratch on me.
In that case, you can die bored!
Luppi tried to pin Grimmjow down with his 4 inner tentacles, while using his other 4 tentacles to release blood-blended Ceros. Grimmjow in response slipped past the tentacles, swatted away the Ceros, and went right for Luppi's chest.
But you know what? I've got a reason to kill you. I'll crush anyone who underestimates me, no matter who they are.
He tried to drive his claws into Luppi's chest, but...
Gotcha!
Luppi smiled and stepped forward, purposely impaling his own abdomen with the claws.
What?
You'll crush anyone who underestimates you, huh? Yeah, what a coincidence. That's what I intend to do too, Grimmjow!
Grimmjow had not only missed Luppi's vitals, but had been enclosed with Luppi in his 8 tentacles like a Venus flytrap taking its prey. Luppi then charged up 8 more Ceros.
Like I'd let that happen!
Grimmjow inhaled and let out an explosive roar interwoven with spiritual pressure, and unleashed a Gara de la Pantera, lumps of spiritual pressure in the form of expelled claws from the armor that had opened on his arm. His and Luppi's attacks connected, and the vicinity exploded into flames.
These guys are reckless. Seriously, fights between hollows are pretty rough.
I'd say you're pretty reckless yourself.
No way. I'm always about safety first.
If you say so. More importantly, looks like they're about to arrive.
Yeah. Well then, guess there's no telling what's gonna happen under these circumstances.
As Ginjo watched the Arankars fight, he remained wary of the Soul Reaper heading their way, as well as the other presence that felt like it had intersected with the Soul Reaper.
We should really start thinking about temporarily withdrawing soon. Even if we try disappearing into the chaos, we could end up goners in an instant if we try our luck and get hit.
I thought I got you just now.
After the cloud of dust dissipated, Luppi and Grimmjow both appeared from within it, bloody but not out of breath.
That's my line. You toughen up suddenly, but it ends here.
Grimmjow began to pour his spiritual pressure into his claws. However...
I thought I got you just now.
Huh?
I thought I got you just now.
You hit your head or something? What are you saying? Huh?
He realized that the spiritual pressure he had been collecting in his claws had been reset.
I thought I got you just now. Thought I got you just now. I thought I just now. I thought I got you just now.
While listening to Luppi's words on repeat, he was overcome with the feeling of his body going numb. Grimmjow suddenly collapsed to his knees.
Oh, so sorry. Did I forget to mention? All of that blood I showered on you is chock full of this super special poison. I don't know how it works exactly, but apparently it's a fearsome poison that causes your mind to repeat the past over and over again. And while that's happening, your body is fully paralyzed.
Luppi staggered over to Grimmjow. He knew Mayuri had hidden the poison in their bodies, and had already used it on Rangiku Matsumoto when he had fought her as a zombie. Though whether the poison would work on a hollow had been a gamble, Luppi felt confident that Mayuri would have considered that contingency, and had purposely fought in a way that would shower Grimmjow with his blood.
This isn't exactly how I wanted things to go down, but this is the first time I've felt alive in a while. I'm grateful, Grimmjow, but that won't stop me from killing you.
Luppi filled each of his tentacles with spiritual pressure, preparing to release a Gran Ray Sero from each of their tips. However, Grimmjow slowly stood up.
What?
Looks like I've actually got you. Luppi!
Impossible! How? How can you stand? Even Captain Class Soul Reapers were no match for that poison.
Ah, so that Arankar has some tolerance.
Tolerance? To your poison, Captain?
Really? What a thoughtless man. I need to establish a point in the past to go back to for the drug to demonstrate its absolute efficacy. Well, in any case, there should have been a great many other types of paralysis drugs hidden in him as well. But it seems that being subjected to some kind of peculiar poison in the past has allowed him to keep his life. Just contemplating such a poison is truly tantalizing.
Grimmjow was once almost poisoned to death by a Quincy named Nocklavar. Though he himself didn't realize it, he had become more resilient to poison after that experience. Though it wasn't as though the poison hadn't had any effect, as Grimmjow was still in probably the worst physical state.
Pretty sneaky thing you did there. Well, who cares? If somebody like you wants to kill me, take whatever shot you can. I'll crush every piece of you, including that arrogant little face of yours.
Poison just really isn't for me. I guess I'm no Szayelaporro. All right, Grimmjow. Challenge accepted. With an enemy like you, I've definitely got to crush you head on.
While rotating his 8 shredded tentacles, he started to prepare another Gran Ray Sero octet. Inferring the attack, Grimmjow used Descaron, distilled spiritual pressure even denser than a Gran Ray, in the tips of all of his claws. The impact of their attacks would obviously be enough to blow away everything around them.
We're retreating.
What the hell is with them? Are they trying to drag us into this too?
As Ginjo and Candice started to gather their companions to get away, something flew in, inserting itself between Grimmjow and Luppi and upsetting the spiritual pressures and canceling their attacks.
What? Who the hell are you?
Ow, ouch, ouch. I just can't get the hang of landings. Yes, my name is Hikone Ubuginu. I was told by Lord Tokinada to come here and meet, Mr. Grimmjow?
Is this kid your reinforcement or something?
Hell no. Wait. I don't remember telling you my name earlier. How do you know it?
Yes, Lord Tokinada told me you're number 6 in the Espada, right?
Tokinada? Huh? You mentioned him last time too, didn't you? Is that the Soul Reaper's boss or something?
Wrong, idiot. Though he is up there, Kyoraku is our actual head.
I remember that spiritual pressure. You're one of the guys who got in the way of my death match with Kurosaki in the world of the living.
You are mistaking me for someone else.
You screwing with me? Then who are you supposed to be? This kid's guardian or something?
I'm sure I already told you. Does it really matter?
You are the ass from back then! Ha! I've got people to slaughter coming at me one after another. If Kurosaki showed up, that'd top the whole thing off.
Mr. Ichigo Kurosaki isn't coming.
Huh?
After all, Mr. Ichigo Kurosaki should be busy in the world of the living. Apparently, he is risking his life fighting for his sisters. Isn't that amazing? It's so honorable.
Hold up. Just wait a sec, kid. How would you know something like that? What did you say was going on with Ichigo? However, before Hikone could reply, Grimmjow pointed his left hand at Hirako and his right hand at Hikone and Luppi, shooting Seros in both directions.
Hey, watch it! What was that for? I thought that Ferris wheel was supposed to be your enemy.
Quit your lame yapping! I'm gonna kill all of you no matter what. You got no problems with that, right?
Did you just call me a Ferris wheel? Huh? This kid didn't even try to dodge, and he's unscathed.
Luppi felt a foreboding chill run down his spine, as did Grimmjow, Hirako, and even the spectating Quincy's and Fullbringers. They all began to sweat as they sensed overbearing power.
Hey, what the hell even is this kid?
I wouldn't tell you even if I knew. Though to be honest, I want to know as well.
Hikone had unsheathed an eerie white zanpakuto. It didn't seem to glint so much as blot out light itself. And unlike the pure white Sode no Shirayuki, this blade contained black within the whiteness. It caused Hirako and the Quincy's to feel a rudimentary fear, while it made the Arankars and Fullbringers feel a clear melancholy.
That presence. It's a hollows, isn't it?
No doubt about it. This kid's zanpakuto is the same as ours. It even opened a garganta.
Hikone, was it? What is that zanpakuto? I'd prefer it to have been a trick of my eyes, but that zanpakuto just ate that Sero, didn't it?
Right. I'll introduce you to Mr. Hirako. This is the zanpakuto Lord Tokinada granted me.
He granted that thing to you?
How deplorable. Huh? How could a fellow hollow spiritual pressure amount to this, even after breaking their masks? What is Baragon doing? Has he been sealed away like me?
What the heck is that zanpakuto? Is it externalizing itself?
Quiet, Soul Reaper. I am not a zanpakuto. I am... Cursed, Soul Reapers! So that's what you did to my name.
What is this? A sword cracking a joke to itself is just so creepy it's not even funny.
What are you whining about?
We've gotta assume that you're picking a fight with us based on what you just said, right?
Sorry. It recently developed the ability to speak, but it never has anything nice to say. But I'll be pleased if you fight me with everything you've got, even if it's out of anger.
Huh?
This time I'll break your spirits and force you to acknowledge me as the king. Please expect great things. I'll give this everything I have. Schedule their funeral, Ikomikidomoe!
A tornado of spiritual pressure rose up into an eerie wall of intermingled light and shadow.
Huh? What's going on? That's not the same release command from before.
The command he had heard in Wako Mundo had been revolve around the stars, and the sword had transformed into something resembling a hollow's arm that seemed to act on its own accord as it mowed down the surrounding enemies.
The hell? The density of this spiritual pressure is also on a different level than it was back then.
The tornado of Reishi dispersed after a few seconds, and what appeared from within could be clearly seen by Ginjo's group a far distance away.
What the hell is that?
It was larger than a common Minos Grande, however it preserved the spiritual pressure density of a humanoid Vastolorde and overwhelmed everyone's spiritual pressure senses. And Hikone was riding it.
That's not some ninja's frog. That thing's too dangerous to have as a summoning.
Is that thing bigger than the bonk guy of that wolf guy Bambi fought?
That's not what's bugging me.
Yeah, I know. Why does that kid riding on top of it have infusions of his spiritual pressure?
Looks like the bait worked. It's your time to shine. You may use one of your few redeeming qualities to strip their Kompaku bear.
That was an unnecessary dig, but I'll get it done. Was your target that weird kid and the monster all along? Not the Fullbringers?
Analysis of the Fullbringers was naturally part of my goal. Originally, I was planning on analyzing those odds and ends a little later. However, since baiting him here was so easy, either something must have come up that made time of the essence, or he sent them knowing it was a trap. If it is indeed the latter, you have entirely underestimated me, Tokinada Tsunayashiro.
Somewhere in the Seirete. Concealed in an underground area of the Seirete that was used exclusively for nobles was the gathering place of all direct data from the visuals department. Every bit of visual observation data from not only the Seirete, but also the entirety of the world of the living and parts of Wako Mundo was gathered and stored in this establishment. In a passageway that connected the establishment to the ground level, Tokinada shook his head at a collection of people who stood in his way. Sui-Feng and the punishment force.
The fun was just starting, though. You've come to bother me at just the worst time. So, what in the world do you intend to do? I'm afraid I'm slow on the uptake about these things. and I would love an explanation.
Lord Tokinada Tsunayashiro, we have received word that someone is scheming to assassinate you. Until we eradicate the threat, we would like to take you into our custody.
Oh, I see. So that's what you've come up with. Attacking from behind is Hiraku's way of doing things. It looks like he still hasn't made any progress on laying the groundwork to unseat me as the head of the family. So he figured that I must step ahead of him, and he's now trying to buy himself some time.
Excuse me, but I do not understand what you mean to say, sir.
Shouldn't you, though? Please stop your unskilled attempt at trying to fool me, 9th generation phone. I can see right through your forced civility. I don't think superficial respect suits the Stealth Force.
How you jest.
Of your older brothers, 2 of them passed away while running errands for my family, did they not? Well, now that things have come to this, I guess one could say they died in vain. But at least they fulfilled their roles as pawns.
Thank you for your words of appreciation.
I said the respectful facade was unnecessary, didn't I? The only ones you truly respect are the Shihoins, especially that runaway Yoruichi, who is not even the head of house anymore, isn't that right? Oh yes, that's it. Maybe if I were to take Yoruichi as my bride and join her clan, you would finally show me some real respect. We're both part of the 4 great noble clans anyway, so don't you think we're a suitable match? The man who thoughtlessly killed his own wife, and the woman who betrayed the Soul Society for Kisuke Urahara. Indeed, we're a match made in heaven.
Now, you must not think much of me if you take me as a wife only to annoy Sui-Feng.
Huh?
When Sui-Feng spun around, Yoruichi was there clothed in black.
Lady Yoruichi!
Oh, you overheard me. How embarrassing.
Even though you would clearly never think about actually proposing to me, I'll still let you know. If I were to be tied to you for life, I'd rather leave the Soul Society again and elope to Hueco Mundo.
Lady Yoruichi, please allow me to accompany you on your honeymoon. I mean your elopement.
Your brain sure does switch gears fast when you're around me, doesn't it, Sui-Feng?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
That wasn't praise. Actually, the Stealth Force is pretty amazing, considering they're waiting on standby with such straight faces. I suppose they're experienced with situations like this.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
It seems that I'm being targeted by assassins as well. I was so frightened that I thought I'd enter into Sui-Feng's protection with you. You wouldn't mind, would you?
So, Yoruichi Shihoin, who holds no Zanpakuto, and the 9th generation of the Phone family who specializes in martial arts. I see. It seems you've heard of what my Zanpakuto can do from Kyoraku, that chatterbox.
How rude. I do have a Zanpakuto. It's just that I'm much stronger fighting on my own. So part of my daily routine involves soothing my soaking sword.
Her Zanpakuto gets to be comforted by Lady Yoruichi every day?
Why not? In any case, I will ask you to guard me. I was very uneasy being alone anyway.
You were uneasy?
Yes, lately I'm being continuously attacked by assassins. How strange. And my guard, Hikone, is not here right now. On days like this, when I walk around with no guard in front of me.
In that moment, an explosion echoed, and a hole ripped open in the ceiling. A group of men and women whose faces were covered by cloth appeared from the hole, gripping their Zanpakuto that had already activated Shikai.
Assassins? Wait, was he serious? No, they must be Tokinada's underlings. Get in formation and engage!
Oh, I'm so frightened. Assassins are so terrifying. I suppose I must also cross the boundaries of social status and fight alongside a lesser noble such as you.
Tokinada sneered at Sui-Feng, smiled, and then reached for the Zanpakuto at his hip.
Offer, Kuten Kyokoku.